Hey guys, here we go into a video discussing Regis Prograis in his upcoming fight against Josh Taylor, which is going to be a fantastic fight, you guys. I'm really excited for it. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. So the first thing that we're going to be looking at is Regis Prograis' kind of active guard, right? His active guard and the way that he comes out when he looks to control the space between him and his opponent. Now immediately you see him feinting, you see him slipping to the inside, you see how he shifts his weight here, and then he shifts his weight down, right, to his head to the other side, right, as he circles around, again shifting his weight and giving his opponent different looks, right, immediately opening up an opportunity for his opponent, what he thinks is an opportunity for him to attack him, but winds up being just in the lane of craft for Regis Prograis. Now you can see that when his opponent is coming, he's able to feint him and he gets Regis Prograis to attack, right? Now, it shows that while Regis Prograis is taking these steps, while he's making these motions, he's still prepared and in position to attack because he's been attacked on these timings before, right? And that's very important to show that he's very relaxed and he's ready for those kinds of shots. And as you can see, again, shifting his weight, this is the same motion he'll make if he shoots a straight left hand, and then again shooting a left hand. And then another important part is that when he shifts his weight back from here, he controls his opponent. He stops his opponent from catching him in between his weight transition by controlling him, giving him something to think about, giving him something to react to, right? Asking him a question before his opponent is able to threaten his position. Again, great upper body movement and great weight transfers. Look at how he continues to move like this, and when Flanagan is able to start setting up his offense, when he thinks that he has Prograis settling down here on this timing, Regis Prograis is still ready to move and slip and get out of the way and stop Flanagan from setting up offense against him. And again, that's one of the entire reasons why you want to have an active guard, is because you don't want your opponent to know where your head is going to be. You don't want them to know where their offense is going to be and where you're going to be susceptible for their kinds of attacks. Again, using the active guard, changing head slots, constantly giving his opponent different things to think about as he moves and traverses the ring. Now again, what he's going to look to do is use this timing and use this active guard to not only set up his own traps and set up his own offense, like we discussed when he slips to the inside. That's the same motion he'll use to slip a left hand. But when he slips to the side, right, and his opponent comes in attack, he slips and moves his head off of the line in the opposite direction. So head on the front foot, right, and then his opponent looks to attack him when he goes to step on that front foot. And he slips, puts his weight on his back foot, and then comes back with the body shot, and then another body shot all off of this head movement, all off of this active guard. And because of that, that makes it very difficult for Flanagan to set up his offense, because he thought he was going to have a timing here in which he could attack Prograis when he was out of position, but because Prograis has seen this tactic before, he's able to slip the shots, and then when he slips, right, very classic pull counter, body shot, he's able to use the momentum from him constantly shifting his weight and changing positions to land two body shots there. And then again, more body shots and moving off the line. A little bit of inside fighting. But again, here we go again into the active guard, right? Again, this is the same motion that he's going to use to slip to the inside. It's the same motion. And he slips to the inside and lands a great straight left hand because Flanagan doesn't see it coming. Flanagan is expecting him to do this motion here, right? Take a step, boom, take a step, right? Shift his weight here. And then when Flanagan isn't expecting it, Prograis is able to sneak in that straight left hand that hits him kind of on top of the head. Now, Flanagan does wind up catching him with the counter after, in lieu of the, or in the catch and counter style, as if he would have blocked that punch. He uses the same weight transition to land his own shot. But that just shows that Regis Prograis is not moving off the line after he attacks, and this could be dangerous for him if he fights Josh Taylor, and Josh Taylor is able to pick that up because Josh Taylor looks to counterpunch as well. Now, counterpunching can be done in a number of ways, but with this catch and counter style here, it's going to require his opponent staying on the line in order to be effective, if that's what it is. And unfortunately for Regis Prograis, it looks like there are a lot of opportunities for him to stay on the line after he attacks. Now his opponent's stepping with his jab, he counters him, but look at how after he counters, he doesn't move his head off the line either. This kind of stuff is going to be very, very difficult for him when he fights Josh Taylor, because Josh Taylor likes to punch in combination as well. Again, with the active guard, transferring his weight, using his lead hand to control his opponent, as you see here, control, right? And off of the weight transfers, he can more disguise these shots. And again, one of the things that you're looking to do is break your opponent's ability to set their punches up by having an active guard. Again, constantly transitioning your weight here. Now Flanagan thinks this is an open attack, and he walks into a counter straight left, right? Or a kind of an overhand left hand shot there. But the reason that it's important to have an active guard, again, is to break your opponent's layers of offense so that they just commit to attacks when they think they have an opportunity. Again, very similar here when he lands that shot here. And then very similar here, his opponent thinks he's out of position and is able to slip and come back with counters to the body. And the reason that he's able to do this is because he's able to hide where his head is going to be on the line all the time. Because he's constantly shifting his weight, giving his opponent different looks, and moving around with this style. This style here, right? On the front foot, shifting his weight to his front foot, to his back foot, front foot, and then able to stop his opponent from feinting him and setting up his punches so he can walk him into his punches of his own. Again, very skilled, very great work from Prograis. Again, transferring his weight, and then beautiful right here. Slip to the front foot, to the back foot when he pull counters that jab, even though it winds up only being a feint, and then kind of walks him into this like kind of looping left hand. Now, the only problem with this style of offense for Prograis is that this is basically all the offense in like the first and the second round, and most of it winds up being reactionary, right? He's waiting for his opponent to come to him. He's expecting all of the movement, the jabs here on the front foot, and then the slipping here, to be enough to get his opponent to not set up his punches so he can walk them into shots. Now let's go ahead and look at Josh Taylor and how he fights. Now the first thing we're going to notice when he shoots these jabs at the beginning of the round, he doesn't move his head anywhere, right? He's just flashing the lead hand out there and asking his opponent a question. What do you think about this jab? And his opponent doesn't really show that he's looking to counter him, but he doesn't also have, I want to say, the most active of guards. Josh Taylor, when he's doing that, notice that his head is basically on the line the entire time after that. He gives him one little slip here, right? A little bit, right? But he's not really threatening his opponent's position. He's not really asking him too many questions until he hard feints here, right? Now this is going to be a bit of a problem because of this scenario right here, right? You notice immediately his opponent tries that same basic flash the lead hand and gets countered immediately. Now, this is exactly what Prograis did to Flanagan all night long. And the interesting thing about it is that if we watch his opponent, right? If we watch Winston Campos is not really shifting his weight. His hands are moving a little bit, but his head is basically in the same spot. And he still finds the opportunity to break Josh Taylor's ability to set his punches up, right? He stops Josh Taylor, right? Or rather, Josh Taylor is not really setting his punches up against him. And as you can see, again, the same kind of guard or the same kind of style of offense 30 seconds into the fight after he got countered, but doing the same kind of feints, the same kind of attacks, and even worse, notice how he steps with all his punches here. This is going to be a big problem against Prograis because Prograis does look to walk you into punches. And if you're stepping with all your punches and you're stepping with all your feints, it might wind up being that he's able to catch him with these shots. And again, when Taylor is jabbing at him, his head is staying on one side of the line, right? And that's going to be very, very bad for him as well because of the counters. It's going to be easy for Prograis to find his head. Now again, very basic setups for his punches throughout the course of the fight in this fight. But look at how Josh Taylor, the way he comes forward, and his head is not really moving off the line. He's not really giving a lot of an active guard. He's basically in one spot, and he's not really giving his opponent much to think about. Now, his opponent's not doing a lot either, right? And maybe that's part of the problem. But But a lot of that stuff could be a big problem when he fights Regis Prograis, because Prograis, again, looks to use that active guard system to break the layers of your attack, so that you're not able to set their punches up. And again, if Josh Taylor isn't looking to really set his shots up here on the outside anyway, he's going to find himself in a lot of trouble with Prograis anyway. But as we move forward, a few things that I do want to talk about are Josh Taylor's defense. Now, his opponent attacks him, and then he slips immediately after the next shot, right? So he takes 2 defensive postures to 1 attack, right? Gets feinted, possibly, or it's a real punch. And then after that, he moves his head off the line again, showing great defensive responsibility. Gets feinted, moves off the line. Gets feinted, moves off the line. Moving twice. Again, this is going to be very, very, very valuable for him against Regis Prograis, because Regis Prograis is very reactionary with his offense. So he's looking to walk you into punches or use that kind of pick you off style where he's going to flash the lead hand and then shoot a straight left hand. And Josh Taylor looks like he'll be ready for that style of offense, that kind of slow, kind of, I don't know how to qualify it to you guys, but it's a very basic style of offense where even though he does set his shots up because they come in the form of 1-2, it does look like Josh Taylor will be ready for those kinds of offense. And again, right, getting away from the straight left hand when the next shot comes, right? The jab comes, he pulls away, and then gets under the possible shot. Now, this is not exactly how you want to do that. You don't want to pull back so far, so that could wind up being a danger if the straight left hand were to come from Prograis. But one thing that he is doing also is off of those timings, he's looking to set up counters. Now, this is very similar, right? Pull here and then come in. This movement here that he's slipping is very similar to this one where he slips and then comes over the top with 1 weight transition. This one winds up being 2. Whoops, I went forward instead of back. This one winds up being 2, 1 back and then 1 forward. And then this one winds up being 1 inside and then with the overhand left. And then he lands another overhand left there. But you can see that Josh Taylor is looking to not only be, he has a very, he has a very interesting style for the ways that he's looking to set up his offense, where he's also doing the kind of defense or the offensive defense, right? Or the aggressive counterpunching, where he's looking to get you to break the layers of your offense as well by putting pressure on you and getting you to control the space between you and him with punches rather than with feints and with different looks and just high-level boxing, right? He's basically looking, to put enough pressure on you that he gets you to put yourself out of position to walk you into counter punches. Now, this might be much more difficult against someone like Regis Prograis. Now, again, you can see more counters, right? A very big part of his offense. But one thing that he does wind up doing really well is after he knows how you're looking to defend yourself, he feints him, gets under this counter, and then boom, lands a great shot there with the right hook, as well as a little bit of inside fighting. I think he could do a lot better. I would not recommend him fighting Regis Prograis on the inside. I think Prograis will kill him. But you can see him. This is very, very important right here. He's going to feint and then slip to the inside, right? And now notice there's no reaction from his opponent, right? He turns away a little bit and moves away. And then he gives him the same exact look, right? Slip to the inside. And then he feints the jab again and then comes over the top with the left hand. This setup right here is almost perfect. It's almost perfect. Feint again and then walks him into the straight left hand. Now, this stuff is going to be very important for him to use against Prograis. And setting up his shots because of the fact that Prograis, like I was saying, is very reactionary. He looks to allow you to come at him while he breaks your layers with his head movement and gets you to walk into punches. Now, this shows that Josh Taylor has the patience and he has the smarts to use feints and use probes and bait counters from his opponents. Now, I'm not sure if I'm not sure if Prograis has fought very many good counterpunchers, but I definitely don't think he's fought very many southpaw counterpunchers, and that might wind up being a problem. Now, for the most part, I think Regis Prograis, on average, is a little bit better of a fighter than the Tartan Tornado, than Josh Taylor. However, this is where the analysis gets really interesting because, number one, like we talked about before, Regis Prograis is a reactive fighter. He's looking, when he's fighting a southpaw, to get you to come into him and to set up your offense against him, or rather get you to walk into counters. But Josh Taylor likes to feint, likes to probe, and likes to come forward. Even though he doesn't have the most active of guard, he is mindful of the counter punches that are coming back at him, and he is mindful of the ways that he needs to set up counters to your counters and get you out of position. Now, again, this is going to be a problem for Prograis because he doesn't move off the line after he attacks. So once he exposes the fact that he's looking to counterpunch against Josh Taylor, that'll put Josh Taylor in a much better position to win the rounds and surmount his offense against his opponent than Prograis is, simply because he's been in these positions before. It's part of his craft. Now, we don't know that much about Prograis, just because, he punches so hard, and we're not sure if he's going to have to wind up learning more about boxing or growing as a fighter, or rather, what level of fighter he really is when he's fighting a southpaw. Now, the last wrinkle to this is that Josh Taylor actually helped Luke Campbell prepare for his fight against Vasily Lomachenko. And Luke Campbell looked phenomenal. He lost almost every round. He won maybe the first two, but he was in that fight. He was feinting, he was probing, he was controlling Lomachenko as best as he could. And he stopped Lomachenko from being the Lomachenko that Lomachenko wants to be, right? And that's a very important idea, especially because of the fact that Luke Campbell was supposed to be learning. Luke Campbell was learning all these techniques. Not only had he never fought a southpaw pro fighter before, but he's never shown the ability to do what he did to an orthodox fighter as a southpaw. So the fact that he could take that next step and fight against a southpaw fighter as a southpaw and put on that kind of performance shows that he's increased his boxing skill by a large margin. Now, if Josh Taylor was part of that process and part of that learning, Josh Taylor could wind up going into this fight being twice as good of a fighter against southpaws as Regis Prograis, right? If Josh Taylor understands the positions that Prograis is constantly putting himself in when he shifts his weight, when he puts his head here or puts his head here, if he can understand what punches are coming when, and when to attack and when to control and when to, if he can learn from the experience of training with Luke Campbell, he has a very good shot at winning this fight. A very good shot. In fact, if Luke Campbell was fighting Prograis right now, and they were the same weight class, I would pick Luke Campbell to beat Prograis. I think that his fight was phenomenal. And if Josh Taylor can be anywhere close to Luke Campbell, I think that he's going to have an easy night with Prograis. Now, the only exception to this is if Josh Taylor doesn't know that Prograis is using those movements and using those slips and those rolls to set up his offense. If he's not watching tape and studying it the correct way, he could get caught cold early, and that would be a big problem. But I think that at the moment I might be leaning towards Josh Taylor. Now, the initial film study says this is going to be a really close fight, but that it'll be fought off of Josh Taylor's pressure and Regis Prograis' counters, and it's going to be determined by who is going to be more patient and who's going to look to set their shots up more. If Josh Taylor goes in and he's not feinting and he's not probing and he's not doing this stuff to his opponent, right? waiting for them to go, right? And then countering over the top of their shots, boom, right? If he's not able to do this, then he's gonna get knocked out probably. He's gonna have a really hard time setting up his shots. Now the only problem with this, because all these clips look great, right? Slipping, boom. The problem with this is that you can see that his opponent is stuck on the line. You can see that he's not transferring his weight. He's not giving different looks. When he makes these attacks, his head is always in one place. And that's not the case with Regis Prograis. So in spite of the fact that he's able to land these great counters, Regis Prograis is constantly switching his, moving his head off the line, feinting, probing, transitioning his weight, and giving different targets, right? Whereas this guy's, his head is always in one line. So I'm not sure if Josh Taylor is going to be able to control Regis Prograis in the ways that he needs to get him to sit still on the line and then force an attack. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do that. But anyway, it's going to be a really interesting fight. I can't wait for it. I think I had one more clip. No, this was the last clip. Okay, but anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if you think that, and again, you know, Josh Taylor doesn't have the most active of guards. This scene right here, when he's fighting this guy, this right here is very worrisome to me. Look at how small he is. Feinting forward, but he's not giving a lot of different looks. He's not pressuring his opponent super well. His opponent's just able to walk around the ring, get away from him, you know, not doing a lot to actually intelligently pressure him. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to share the video if you appreciate it. And don't forget to check out foutsboxing.com. Check out my articles. And let me know if there's anything you guys want me to write about that I don't already make videos for. Anyway, thanks, guys.